Hi friends, in today's video, I'm going to be chatting with CloudSpot CEO Gavin Wade to break down the incredible new CloudSpot Studio CRM for photographers. So if you want to hear all about it directly from the source and an amazing personal friend of mine, keep watching. And welcome back to my channel. My name is Hope and I am a senior portrait photographer serving both Charleston and Savannah, and this YouTube channel is where I share education for photographers as well as a little bit of a peek into my life living in the Low Country. I have been excited about today's video for a very long time. In case you haven't heard, CloudSpot, which is the program that I use for my gallery delivery and I absolutely adore, I've made tons of YouTube videos about them on this channel, has released a brand new program called CloudSpot Studio. So now not only can you use CloudSpot to deliver your client galleries, but you can now use it to deliver contracts, invoices, and questionnaires to your clients, creating an all-in-one amazing resource for photographers. But you guys also know that I am a huge fan of Honeybook. It's what I use for my personal CRM and my business. So some of you have already asked me, what are your thoughts on CloudSpot Studio? Are you going to be using it? Do you think it's an amazing alternative for photographers? And that's what today's video is going to answer. So we are going to be diving right in, and instead of talking about it by myself, I thought it would be really helpful for you guys to hear directly from the source, the amazing CEO of CloudSpot named Gavin. He's a personal friend of mine. He is freaking awesome, and he is going to be joining me for a virtual interview today to teach you all about CloudSpot Studio. So it's going to be amazing. Let's go ahead and cut to my conversation with Gavin. Okay, Gavin, I am so excited to have you on the channel to chat about this further. You are obviously like going straight to the source for all of the information about CloudSpot Studio. So I can't wait to hear it like straight from your mouth. But before we dive into like all the amazingness that is Studio, will you just give our like channel and our subscribers a little bit of context on like who you are, what your background is, and why you started like CloudSpot in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And God, where to begin? I mean, CloudSpot itself started as a means to address problems in my own business. As a photographer, my wife and I were a husband and wife team shooting 30 to 50 weddings a year for over a decade. And so, I am all too familiar with the pain points that arise as you continue to build and to scale a business. And it just got to a point where I was the bottleneck in our business. She was editing up a blue streak, but when it came to delivering photos and how the whole experience is where CloudSpot was born. And then, we are, speaking of decade, we're almost a decade into CloudSpot. And so I'm so excited to share with you and everyone kind of the next evolution, like how we were expanding to help solve even more problems and issues that our own photographers have told to us that they're facing in their business now as, the photo industry changes and all the needs and pressures on solopreneurs just kind of continue to compound.
100%. And I have known about Studio behind the scenes for such a long time that I'm obviously not nearly as close to it as you are, but this still feels like finally getting to talk about something that like has been under wraps for forever. So CloudSpot was obviously born as just a gallery delivery service. So I would love to hear a little bit more about why you decided to expand into kind of like the CRM and studio space, because I know this was something that you did not take lightly in terms of the decision and the strategy and the thought behind it. And so would you share a little bit about that, like decision-making process?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will be the first to admit that at the onset, I was very resistant to the idea because, again, for us, if we're going to dive in and do something, we want to do it to the best of our ability and we want to solve problems that actually exist rather than just say, hey, we're just going to build more stuff. That was very early days, but I said, look, we're going to leave it up to our photographers. We're going to ask and see like, hey, if this is something that they're feeling the crunch on, like then we absolutely want to listen. We want to help in the most meaningful way possible. So
sure.
Why studio? Why even create a studio manager? There are other services out there, which we'll talk about in a sec, but it was first and foremost because our photographers were coming to us saying, please, I am drowning in my business. I feel lost. I feel overwhelmed. Like, I'm just craving something to just simplify. Every time I step up to the computer, simplify my life, my workflow, streamline my client's experience. And we love how CloudSpot has done that on the gallery side of things. It would just be incredible if you could expand that to help on the business side, because that's really where those cracks start turning into craters as your business begins to grow. And so it really got to the point where I was like, we cannot ignore this. Like, we have to do something. So let's dive in with both feet like we always do.
I love it. Well, and I, as a business coach, always tell people the best thing you can do to decide the best next step for your business is to ask your audience what they want and then listen. Because I don't necessarily believe in the, like, if you build it, they will come. But I do believe that if you ask them, they'll tell you what they need. And it sounds like that's exactly what happened. And I know that people are just already absolutely loving what you guys have created. So we've been teasing at it a little bit, but neither of us have given like a full intro on what Studio is. So will you tell us more about like exactly what Studio is and give us an inside look at this new platform, what it can do, what it looks like for photographers, what it looks like for clients? Like, I know you're going to give us just the best tour. So I'm going to go ahead and bow out and let you take over.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. And yes, I preface this all by saying I'm going to give you a very high level walkthrough of Studio and how it exists and the features that it has at the time of this filming, but likely when it gets released, there will be more. So I'll tease you with what we have coming. But again, it's going back to that mission of why build this on top of our existing platform. And so it all came down to organization for the photographers. Like, how can I manage all the clients that I have, all the projects that I have, and how do I quickly get them contracts to sign, invoices to pay? Are there templates and things that I could utilize so that when I am sending these things out, that it's saving me time? I do the work once and then I can rinse and repeat and slightly adjust. So what you're seeing right here on the screen is essentially what we're calling CloudSpot Studio is your dashboard. So when you navigate over to it, this is where our galleries and image delivery and print store and stuff lives. But when you navigate over to the Studio side, you're going to quickly be able to see right up at the very first screen, like everything that's going on and those quick actions to create a new project, create a contract, invoice, questionnaire, etc. But what I just love is just, you get a high level view of just like everything that's happened by all of your clients across all of your projects so that you can dive in and investigate if you need to see something. But let's start at the tippy top. So, normally when you send contracts, invoices, questionnaires, you do those on like a one-off basis. So we know, especially if you're a wedding photographer, portrait photographer, there are tons of moving pieces even within like a single project. So what we have is called projects. Makes sense. It works. And this allows you to see all of your bookings, all of your shoots that you have coming up, and any of the action items that require your attention or your client's attention and related to those things. So you can see here, this example here, there's the project title. This is where all those invoices are at. And here are some of the things that are needing to be done or that haven't been done yet by your client. And these are the clients that are involved. So when you go and click in to this particular project, you can see, okay, great. Here's all the contracts that I have. Here are the questionnaires. Here are the invoices. And you're able to take a deeper dive into all the details for each one of those things, as well as see an activity history by all of the clients in that project and all the documents and things that you've sent thus far. So again, really nice, clean, easy to understand, but very easy to dive deeper when you need to manage those various aspects of your business. And there's quick actions here that you can do. So I'll get to the client-facing portion in just a second. But this is where you, the photographer, live, and this is how you stay organized. And then you can individually go in and create separate contracts, separate invoices, separate questionnaires if you need them on a one-off basis. Or let's say you create it and that one-off shoot turns into a full-on project, you can always assign one of these contracts or invoices to an existing project. So again, just kind of helps keep things tidy without having to duplicate work, which is what we love. And speaking of duplicating work, we always say when you dive into Studio, you need to do yourself a favor and set up your templates first. So we allow you to create templates for contracts, invoices, questionnaires, and even just email templates themselves when you go to send those particular documents or you go to send a project. You can do that work once and then just add a slight customization on the way out, just like what we provide on the gallery side of things. But let's go back to projects for a second, because when we were first beta testing this, everyone was like, great, I've got my contract added, I got my invoice added, I got my questionnaire added, but do I have to send all those things at one at a time? I want to be able to send it all to a client so that they can book and pay all at the same time. So what we've done is we've added this ability to send a project. So you can very easily send a project out to your clients adjust the text. And then when they click that view project button, we actually walk them through the steps to sign the contract and to pay, and even answer that questionnaire if you'd like. So again, keeps things really nice, tidy. And then to cap it off, I'll click into the settings. So just like with CloudSpot, we want your brand to be the hero and to shine. So within here, we allow you to inject your business, your style, your personality into every single client interaction. So from, just kind of making your life a little easier by, you sign this and you can have all of your contracts, auto signed after your clients sign them. That saves you a few extra steps here and there. For the contracts, when your clients go to view these, you can customize the background image, add your logo, customize the fonts and colors, just all of that, again, to make it 100% yours. And so we carry that through to your invoices, to your questionnaires, and even over to your client portal side of things. So this is the client-facing side. So when they go to view their project, they're taken to a one-stop shop to see all the moving pieces for their business, or for their booking, just like you have on your project side of things. So this is the client-facing side. And I'm not biased at all, but I think we have the best looking client portals out there. We spend a lot of time making sure that this is going to make you look awesome to your clients and just level up their experience. So all of that's in here. And then one of the coolest things, and we'll kind of talk about it a little bit more here, is you can accept payments, obviously, for those invoices that you send out. And CloudSpot has the lowest payment processing fees in the entire industry. It is just a flat 2.5%. So you are saving money right out of the gate just by invoicing through here and keeping more of that hard-earned money in your pocket. So I could talk about this all day long, but at a super, super high level, that is all the things that we have right now in CloudSpot Studio. And yeah, like it's been received extremely well. And it's just even for photographers at many stages in their business, it's just been making their life so much easier because just everything's under one roof. So we're super excited.
It's so powerful and it's such a beautiful platform. And for those people that are already using CloudSpot for their galleries, it's such an easy learning. There isn't even a learning curve. I'm not even going to say it's an easy learning curve. Like it just functions the same way. So it just makes it such an easy transition. Before we started recording, Gavin and I were talking about how us as creatives hate change. Like we are so resistant to change. And so for those of you that are still or already using CloudSpot for galleries, like I am, it's just going to be such a seamless transition to move into something just so powerful for your business. So let's talk a little bit about who Studio is for. We both know I've shared a ton about Honeybook on this channel. And you and I have had discussions about, Honeybook is great, Dubsado is great, but those are totally different products and they're for totally different people on purpose. And so I would love to hear you speak more to that because I know we're going to get questions about it. And I think that the way that you have framed this product to be unique and stand alone from the other options is incredible.
Oh, well, thank you. And I completely echo what you said. Like, those platforms are fantastic CRMs. I mean, they do a ton of things. And there's no doubt that they add value to a photographer's business. However, I would say, we wouldn't have built this if that was fitting every single photographer's needs, right? And I would say, and I think, photographers who are listening and you and I, we've experienced this in our businesses, when you're at different spots along the way in that business journey, you have different problems. Like, they always say like, oh, more money, more problems, or whatever it might be. Like, as you continue to grow and mature in your business, the problems don't go away. The bottlenecks don't go away. They just shift. They move from here to here and then to here, right? And so for a lot of photographers, when they're first starting off in their first few years, CRMs and things like the companies we mentioned oftentimes just feel incredibly overwhelming. Like it's just almost paralyzing to effect. And, add to it that it's an additional charge, and not an inconsequential additional monthly charge. A lot of photographers can just immediately just go like, oh, it's too much. I'm just going to stick to pen and paper. I'm going to stick to Microsoft Excel. I'm just going to send Venmo requests and just figure it out, right? Even though it's more work for them, it's just the mental load, the bandwidth to just take on something that's fully featured that's not exactly built for photographers. So you kind of have to wrangle and figure out, how does this work for me? And what things do I need? What things do I not need? And ultimately, oftentimes for photographers in their earlier stages of business, it can feel like, taking a bazooka to a knife fight. And with that, it's usually just not for me right now. And so CloudSpot Studio exists to fill that void right there, that gap, that, you know what, it's a little bit too much for me right now. And believe me, we'll get there. I mean, we're just, a month old right now. So we're continuing to grow and build and things. So we look forward to helping more and more photographers at different stages in their business. But for right now, this is for photographers who want a one-stop shop to allow them to manage everything from their entire business workflow end to end. So they bring in a client here in studio, and when they go and deliver that gallery, that client's still there, and they can find them and they can share it. And they just have one login, and they just have one monthly price, and it just kind of removes the noise and the clutter and just, again, that mental bandwidth and pressure that they feel like they have to learn tons of new things just to operate. And so we're right there to help things just be simple, straightforward, not intimidating, not scary. And I think what we're about to talk about next, not expensive whatsoever.
Yeah. And I think that is the wildest part, which we are going to talk about. And I think it's so true. There are so many photographers that I teach and I mentor, and they ask me what I use to manage my business. And I tell them Honeybook, and then I start to show them Honeybook, and I see the look on their face and they're like, I don't even know what half these features are. Like I just don't need them. They're not on my radar. And then we visit the pricing section and they're like, I don't have that. Like, I'm brand new. I don't need that. I don't have those resources. And CloudSpot Studio is the perfect solution. It really is. And so let's talk about pricing, because this is the part that boggles my brain, that I think is absolutely incredible for photographers that are looking for a solution like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we embarked on building this, it was really important to us to not only do we figure out like what we wanted to include with Studio right out of the gate, but more importantly, what we knew it shouldn't do for the photographer. And that was two things. It was not increasing their monthly costs, so this wasn't going to be an add-on product, which so many platforms would do in a case like this, and say, look, we just spent 2 years building this thing. We're going to try and recoup some of those costs. And so it's going to be $25, $30 a month more if people want to use it. The first thing I told our team is, look, we're going to make this free and included with every single plan that we offer, because why in the world should we build something to help photographers at the early stage of their business if right away we can't serve them because it's cost prohibitive? So yeah. First and foremost, CloudSpot Studio, everything that you just saw there is included with every single of our subscription plans. And that's just based on the storage that you need. So, with your discount Hope that you provide everyone on your channel, that means people for as low as $6 a month, they have a complete end-to-end solution. So that's project management, client management, invoices, contracts, questionnaires, client galleries, a product store, image delivery, $6 a month. So we wanted to make the barrier for photographers as low as humanly possible to help get them on the right track right out of the gate, so they can focus more on building and growing their business and not worrying about having to learn or pay for multiple softwares.
And it's just so accessible. Like, if you sold one 4x6 print from one gallery, you would cover the cost of this for the entire month. Like, it's insane. And if you are somebody that's already using CloudSpot for your gallery delivery and you maybe didn't realize that Studio was released, now you know it's included in what you're already paying, which is bananas. And it's just incredible. And I have so many friends that are resistant to that change, that are still using like pen and paper and Microsoft Excel and all of those things. And I'm like, you don't have an excuse now. Like, you can level up your whole client experience in just an insane way for next to nothing, which is amazing. And I can speak on behalf of the photography community when I say thank you for making it so accessible, because it really is going to be a game changer for so many people. And as you mentioned earlier, you guys are only a month old, which is also bananas. Like, you guys have done so much in a month. But I know that also means you guys are constantly adding new features and listening to what your audience is needing from you. And you have some exciting things coming out that may even be live by the time this video goes out. So do you want to tease at some of those features?
Yes, absolutely. And I sure hope it's live by the time. But one more thing on the pricing that I definitely want to make sure to double click on as well. So not only is it included with any of our paid plans, even on our free plan, you can use Studio and send unlimited invoicing. But for those invoices, we're only having, like I mentioned earlier, a flat 2.5% payment processing fee. So a lot of the platforms we talked about, 2.9, 3, 3.4%. And even then you're getting paid out 4, 5, 6, 7 days after your client pays the invoice. So we are a flat 2.5% payment processing fee with a 2-day payout deposit direct to your bank. So not only do you save money, but you keep more of that money for every single invoice. And I'll tell you, we have a calculator on our website and people have already been like playing with it. The average is in the hundreds of dollars per year that they are saving, to where the CloudSpot just even pays for itself 3, 4, 5 times over just from those savings alone. So I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't mention that, because it just helps so many people just on the money saving side of things.
It does. And it's so important that you highlight both of those things, because I feel like the processing fee is something that a lot of photographers don't pay a ton of attention to, or like really take into account when they're looking at numbers. And that calculator on y'all's website is just such a cool way to visualize that. And the link's in the description. I know we've touched on that a little bit, but the link is down in the description to get half off, and to learn more about like everything we've discussed. But
Absolutely.
Those new features that are live as of this video.
Yes. I have no problem writing checks that we haven't cashed yet. So let's do it. No, so we're working on it right now. It's going into beta testing this week. And so that I'm excited to say, and we knew it was coming. We knew as soon as we released Studio, this was going to be one of the first things that people asked. And so we already were working on it before Studio launched. And that's our booking and scheduling feature. So if you're doing mini sessions, if you're wanting to, fill up those spots for the fall here, and be able to accept payments and have your clients choose available slots, and if you're looking to replace like the Calendlies or the other things out there that are made for photographers that you, again, have to pay extra for, we're now including it for free in CloudSpot Studio, to where you can set up your mini sessions, set certain time slots, of course, make it beautiful and branded and customized to your brand, and accept those payments without you having to do any of the work. So that's coming very soon.
Oh, I love it. Snaps for Studio. I'm so excited about it. And I'm so excited to be sharing about it. Like on this channel, we have talked so much about getting to like announce it and share it with the world, because it's been in the works for so long. And I've been so excited to just have information about a more accessible tool on this channel. So thank you so much for coming on and personally being the one to help share about this and break it down. I know that people are going to be so excited about it, and we appreciate you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And photographers, if you need help getting set up, or if you need to migrate photos from one other platform to here, like our team is here to help. We offer free image migration. We offer free setups for Studio. Even if you're looking to transfer some things from another provider here, because you're kind of like in between, we're here to help. Hope your discount's the best deal in town. Absolutely. And so all of that's here for all of your wonderful photographers, and we can't wait to serve them more in their business.
You're awesome. And we'll both be keeping our eye on the comment section too. So if you have questions, we're both happy to elaborate and answer any questions. But Gavin, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Hope. I really appreciate it. Talk with you soon.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's video. I hope you found it interesting to hear all about CloudSpot Studio directly from the man himself. CloudSpot Studio is truly an amazing resource for photographers, especially those of you that are new in business and looking for an incredibly affordable way to up-level your professionalism, your client experience, and streamline your entire booking process, and also accept payments while making as much money as possible. So if you want to try out CloudSpot Studio, I'm dropping my link down below in the description, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I post educational videos every other week, and I would be so grateful to have you subscribe. But until then, thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.